Well, we're here in the underground cellars at Penfolds McGill Estate, and I'm joined by Kim Schroeder, who's Penfolds senior white winemaker. And I've got in my hands a bottle of the Penfolds Reserve Bin 09A 2009 Adelaide Hill Chardonnay. Now, Kim, I've got to say this is one of my all-time favourite Penfolds wines. It seems to be winning loads of awards right across the vintages the last few years in the Australian wine show circuit. What makes it so special?
Well, firstly, you and me both. I love this wine too. It's probably my favourite wine out of the whole white portfolio. But yeah, correct. It's had such an amazing show circuit year. This wine in particular, in its first year of showing in national and regional shows, it's picked up 8 golds, 8 trophies. And it's only the first year, so we've still got many years to go in the show circuit.
Hasn't even been released, and it's won all of those
Well, that's the thing. It's just done extremely well, and I guess it shows the quality of the wine.
Absolutely.
And consistency of the judging.
And it's all sourced from the Adelaide Hills, so a single region, but not single vineyard, across a few different vineyards?
No, not single vineyard, but you're right, it's 100% Adelaide Hills. We come from, generally it's about 3 to 4 growers each year. This one is about 3 growers, so yeah, but 100% Adelaide Hills.
And it stands apart from Yattarna, doesn't it? They've become very different wine styles. How would you separate the two?
Well, if you're going to talk about both of them next to each other, you'd say Yattarna is very restrained on release. It really needs time to open up. Very tight acid, and the fruit expression is quite strong. It's all about fruit, complexity and acid. Whereas the Reserve Bin, it's all about complexity. So with 9 months in oak and barrel fermentation and continual lees stirring, you get a lot of complexity in this wine, and it's a lot about winemaking artefact. And what I mean by that is the nuttiness, the creaminess that comes out in the wine. It has the fruit as well, but it has that background winemaking artefact to give it that real complexity. And it's not quite as tight as Yattarna, it's a bit more generous in flavour.
Yeah, and the oak's certainly there, and it's adding complexity, but it sits in the background, it sort of rounds the fruit out beautifully, but perhaps in a more pronounced way than Yattarna does, and perhaps a little bit more new oak.
Well, there is more new oak in the Reserve Bin. Yeah, we're looking around about 62% brand new French oak for this wine. So Yattarna only gets 49 to 50%.
Yeah.
So this wine is certainly more oakier, but because of the complexity and the way we make it, it doesn't look overtly oaky.
No. And always released as a 2-year-old wine. So 9 months or so in barrel, the remaining time matured in bottle before release. It allows it to what in the bottle, grow a bit?
Yeah, it just needs time to, I guess, open up and complex even further.
Yeah.
So I think if you had it on release on the same vintage, it would probably be a little bit too intense. It really needs time to soften up, open up, and 2 years bottle age really does that.
Now, I can't help but want to drink these as soon as I get my hands on them, but if you were to put it down in the cellar and just let it evolve a little bit longer, how do you think it'd track?
Well, generally with Chardonnays, if you're going back 15 to 20 years ago, you would say a Chardonnay would last only 1, 2, 3 years tops. The way we make them these days, we're picking a little bit earlier, much more manipulation in barrel by winemaking. We're making these wines to last 8, 10, maybe 12 years, but generally I like to drink them between 7 to 10 years, but you know they can last.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I was going to be pairing this wine with some food tonight, what would you be thinking about?
Well, I guess because it is quite a complex wine, you probably want a slightly richer dish.
Yep.
So probably not really the seafood type. You're probably looking at more of the duck and the chicken and even pork.
Yeah.
Probably unheard of with pork. Normally people say a rosé or red wine.
Yeah.
But it's so complex and so strong and intense that you can actually have it with light red meat dishes as well.
Terrific. Well, Kim, thank you very much for your time. It's been fascinating to learn a bit more about this Reserve Bin 098.
You're welcome. Thank you.